Alright, in today's video, I will be doing my picks for UFC Fight Night Macau, Song Yadong versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Low-key an ass card, not ass, but a lot of auto-generated fighters, not a lot of name value, and there's like one close fight on the main card. So this is just not a very hype fight night for me, but with that being said, I do expect some crazy fights and some crazy finishes, so I think it'll turn out alright. Oh, and since it's in Macau, the prelims start at 4 a.m., so that's not necessarily a plus, but I'm a crackhead, so I'ma probably be up at 4 a.m., locked in, watching the Macau card. First fight of the night, we have Jacqueline Amorim versus Loma Lookboonmee, and both are coming off losses, but Amorim is a grappling heavy submission artist while Lookboonmee is a Muay Thai style striker. Amorim is taller, has a 6.5 inch reach advantage, and has a 100% finish rate in her 10 wins, so give me Amorim. This next fight has some lore behind it a little bit. Rodrigo Vera versus Kangji Zhu. And Rodrigo Vera is the one guy that I said beat Juan Diaz in my Arnold Allen versus Melquizael Costa picks video, and I picked Juan Diaz to beat Wellmaker, and he did that, and he looked great. To me, that fully checks out Vera, and I don't think this will be that close of a fight. Both are making their UFC debuts in this fight, but Zhu has been on road to UFC for a while now. To me, Vera has fought better comp. He's a high volume striker with a solid ground game, and I don't think Kangji will be able to stop him from moving forward on him, so I got Rodrigo Vera. Next fight is Angela Hill versus Zhang Jingnan. Angela Hill is strictly a crafty vet at this point. She's a solid overall fighter, but she's 41 and is obviously at the end of her career. Zhang is 19-2 and has gone 10-1 in her last 11 fights at one championship. She has 10 knockout wins and has plenty of experience going 3 rounds and 5 rounds, so I think that'll help her out a lot in this fight. She also has the height and youth advantage, although she is 38 years old herself, but I got Zhang in a dominant decision. Next fight is Ray Saruya versus Luis Garul, and I just called Luis Garul ass last fight night, but here I am debating picking him. It's super short notice for Garul, and he fought just 2 weeks ago, but they are doing it at bantamweight, which I think helps him. I'm worried for Saruya because he's a very good wrestler, but fades a lot as the fight goes on, and I think he's a little bit overrated on the ground as well. The first round of his debut with Carlos Hernandez was a close round, and he gassed out and got controlled for over 4 minutes in round 3. Obviously, he 10-8'd him in the second, but still, man, that was not a flawless run-through performance, and he was a minus 410 favorite in that fight. And then he lost to Joshua Van, so I'm not too mad about that one. And I'm not saying Luis Garul is Joshua Van, but he has crazy cardio, can push a crazy pace, and is a solid wrestler, and has only been finished once in his career. So I have Garul stuffing the takedowns later in the fight, being more active in the second and third round, and winning the upset decision. The next fight is Cody Haddon versus Auri Chi-Lung, and this should be a pretty fun fight. I think Cody Haddon is solid. He's a dangerous finisher on the feet and on the ground. He has sound boxing and solid submissions as well. He is coming off a 19-month layoff though, which could definitely impact him a lot in this fight. Auri Chi-Lung is a heavy puncher who also uses his leg kicks pretty well. He throws hard combos and looks to try and trade in the pocket a lot. I think as long as the rust isn't too bad on Haddon, he will win this one, most likely by decision. The next fight is Jose Enrique versus Meng Ding, and Jose Enrique is a bit of a prospect. He's 24 years old and 8-1 with 6 knockouts. He hasn't faced great competition and has kind of just knocked out a bunch of randoms, and he also got knocked out in the Contender Series just 4 fights ago himself. Meng Ding is 31 years old and has a crazy record of 35-9 with 28 knockouts and 2 submissions, but he has also kind of just been fighting randoms, so they're similar in that sense. I think this fight could go either way, and Henrique actually has a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight, which scares me a lot, but I'm going to go with Meng Ding. I just think he's going to get him, man. The next fight is Luis Felipe Diaz versus Yi-Sak Lee, and Luis Felipe Diaz is 16-5 with 7 knockouts and 8 submissions, and he's coming off a second round submission win on the Contender Series. Lee is 26 years old and 8-1 with 4 knockouts and 3 submissions, and I'm gonna be honest, man, Hot take maybe. I don't really think this is a close fight. I think Luis Felipe Diaz handles Lee convincingly, probably by a second round submission. Diaz has really good jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and Lee is inexperienced and kind of sloppy on the ground. Lee's one loss is also a submission loss to a guy called the Alligator, and if you get submitted by the Alligator, I think Luis Felipe Diaz will be able to get a takedown and get something locked in. And even if he can't get the submission locked in, I don't think the striking is as big in Lee's favor as people are making it out to be. Lee is kind of powerful, good at pressuring his opponents, and is explosive, but that's about it. Luis Felipe Diaz is the pick. And to open the main card, we have Alex Perez versus Suma Durji, and this is the only fight on the main card that I think is really a toss-up fight. Alex Perez is coming off a very impressive first-round knockout win versus Charles Johnson, who has looked very good recently. Before that, he was 1-5, but only lost to very high-level competition. Suma Durji is on a 3-fight win streak, all by decision, after losing 3 in a row. Alex Perez is a good wrestler, has a good leg kick, and pushes a good pace on fighters. Suma Durji is pretty much the opposite. He's a lanky, explosive southpaw striker who uses his reach to land quick punches and set up head kicks. The 6.5-inch reach advantage for Suma Durji is scary, and if he stuffs takedowns and keeps Perez on the outside, Perez could be fucked, but I have to go with the crafty vet pick Alex Perez. I think he will be rejuvenated after his Charles Johnson win, and Suma Durji is not the same level as the guys he's fought in the past, or even the same level as Charles Johnson in my opinion. So this was supposed to be Jake Matthews versus Muslim Salikov, but Salikov pulled out due to injury, so now we have Carlston Harris stepping in on short notice, and I'll keep it a buck with y'all. I have almost no faith in Carlston Harris. Jake Matthews choked out Neil Magny at the end of round 1 in his last fight and should be on a 4-fight win streak, with his last loss being a decision loss to Michael Morales. Carlston Harris is 38 on a 2-fight knockout skid and again is taking this fight on short notice. I think the reach and height of Harris could cause Matthews some problems maybe, but Matthews is the clear pick. Man, oh man, if Kaya Sakura loses to Cameron Smotherman, this will be a generationally ass run. For your UFC debut to be a second-round submission loss to Pantoja is one thing, to be completely neutralized on the feet and submitted by crafty old man Tim Elliott is another, but losing to Cameron Smotherman would really complete the run. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little worried for Asakura, but I do think he wins this fight. Smotherman is also on a 2-fight losing streak, but I don't actually think he's that bad of a fighter, and I wish he got more of an opportunity in his next fight instead of being fed to Asakura. Smotherman is a pretty basic, solid striker, but I think Asakura's speed and explosiveness will win him the fight. The next fight is Sergey Pavlovich versus Talison Teixeira, and this fight makes no sense to me. Pavlovich is on a 2-fight win streak after getting knocked out in the first round by Tom Aspinall and then beating a decision against Alexander Volkov, but before that he was on a crazy run with 6 first-round knockouts. After his Aspinall loss, he hasn't looked the same, but he still just beat Waldo Cortez Acosta in a pretty dominant decision where he won the 3rd round convincingly. And on the other side, we have Talison Teixeira, who has gone 1-1 in the UFC, with a first-round knockout loss to Derek Lewis, and then a sloppy, ugly win against Tai Tuivasa. Bro, Louis Sutherland looked better against Tai Tuivasa than Teixeira did. Like, this is just so weird to me. Obviously, Pavlovich is still a very powerful puncher, but he has turned into more of a patient, calculated fighter who takes his time now instead of just running in headfirst for a knockout. Teixeira is 6'6" with a 83-inch reach and mainly uses his jabs and straights to keep distance and also has solid elbows. I don't think the 83-inch reach will matter that much though, because even though Teixeira is 4 or 5 inches taller than Pavlovich, Pavlovich actually has an insane 84-inch reach himself, and this to me has all the makings of a boring ass point style fight at heavyweight. 2 ginormous dudes just trading jabs and throwing the occasional leg kick. Give me Pavlovich in a clear decision. And the co-main event is Zhang Mingyang versus Alonzo Menifield, and I think Zhang Mingyang should smoke Menifield. All 19 of Mingyang's wins are by first round finish, which is a wild stat. He's coming off a loss to Johnny Walker in a weird-ass fight where he ended up getting dropped by leg kicks and then finished on the ground. Menifield is 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and he's been knocked out in all 3 of his losses, but to be fair, it was Carlos Ulberg, Azamat Murzakanov, and Volkan Ozdemir, so not the worst people to get knocked out by. Mingyang just aggressively pressures fighters from the beginning of the fight and throws bombs, and Menifield still has power, but he's almost 39 years old now and coming off back-to-back knockout losses, so I believe Mingyang should knock out Menifield in the first round. He needs a big bounce-back performance, and I think he's going to get it here. And the last fight on the card is Song Yadong versus Deiveson Figueiredo. And again, man, like the 4 fights before it, I just don't think this is a close fight. I think Song Yadong is going to piece up Deiveson Figueiredo pretty badly. Song Yadong is 3-2 in his last 5 fights, but his 2 losses were very competitive fights against Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan. And Figueiredo is coming off a decision loss against Umar Nurmagomedov, where he pretty much got beat everywhere and didn't look that good. Song has very crisp, explosive boxing, and I think Figueiredo will struggle to keep up with the pace, and Figueiredo's power, speed, and timing have all been slipping recently, and I could see Figueiredo trying to take the fight to the ground and work in his grappling, but Song Yadong is a very good defensive wrestler and has good takedown defense, so I don't see that being an easy method of victory for Figueiredo. Song Yadong is 3 inches taller, 10 years younger, and has the home court advantage, so I think this is set up clearly for a 5-round domination by Song Yadong or a late knockout win. So those are my picks for UFC Fight Night Macau, and again, not the strongest card. I think it's just alright, to be honest, but I'ma still probably wake up at 4 a.m. to watch it, you know, cause we do it for the love of the game, you know, we just do it for the love of the game. So let me know what you thought about the picks. Let me know if you thought they were ass, or let me know if you thought they were gas. Either way, just let me know. And thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.